Hey guys, what's going on? It's David Avalon here with my co-host Robert Drysdale for another episode of Breaking the Guard. Robert, what's going on today?
Not much, man. A lot of errands. Just telling Dave I got to start waking up early in the morning, man. Not enough hours in the day. I just love to sleep. I'm not like, I like to work too, but I like to get my 8 hours in, I don't feel like I'm very functional with less than 6. Like 7 to 8 is ideal. I know people that sleep like 4. I'm like, I don't know how you live, man.
Yeah, 4 is bare minimum.
Yeah,
like you could function, but like you said, like consecutive days, I don't know, you're gonna get stringed out. And I feel like people who sleep very little, you'll see they get sick all the time.
Yeah, it messes up your immune system. Sleeping is the healthiest thing you can do.
Yeah.
There's nothing healthier than sleeping. It's just that, you have that work ethic and you want to do it all, but you also want to rest. So I guess I get up earlier, man. Like I was just telling you, like I run like crazy. And then by the end of the day, I haven't even gotten half of the things I do. Like they come in faster than I can solve them, it seems like, Yeah. But yeah, man, all good stuff other than that. Just good stuff, good busy. How about you?
Yeah, well, the same, doing little projects. I know you've probably seen from the house, I got like a giant dumpster full of concrete.
Nice, yeah.
And getting like a swim spot put in the back there. And
Nice.
of course, there's hiccups everywhere. Like, oh, this guy messed up. And
it is always way more work than it sounds in theory. In theory, everything is perfect. As soon as you start doing stuff, there's like all these things you didn't even know you didn't know.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, great. That's going to be an extra $2,000 next year for son of a bitch.
It goes quick. I know. I just finished some construction at the house. I actually still got some construction going on. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, but other than that, going good. But I know one of the things we wanted to start off with was talking about the past couple UFCs, and I wrote a blog about it, but it seems the past UFCs we've had like pretty flagrant fouls that are like, I don't know, it seems almost amateur level mistakes that some of these guys are making, particularly with like Peter Yan in his title defense against Aljamain Sterling. He's dominating his fight, 4th round. He looks like he's on his way to get a TKO because he's throwing punches. Yeah. Aljamain drops to his knees, trying to play the game where at least I won't get kicked or knee to the head anymore. And it's a very premeditated knee that Yan throws because he's holding it. It's like he's thinking of what to do.
I didn't see it, but didn't he ask his corner at some point if he could?
They said, well, according to the corner, it's a Paumpa, right? And Paumpinha, right, from
yeah,
ATT.
Paumpinha, yeah.
So he said, punch, right? But then they were saying the Russian translator was also saying strike, right? So they don't know.
Oh, the translation got lost there.
Yeah, and then he fired that knee, and it was clearly an illegal knee according to the rules. And again, hard to say how hurt. I mean, he was already hurt.
Yeah.
The whole point, he dropped his knees because he couldn't take the punishment from his feet anymore. Like flush knee to the head probably didn't help, but at the same time, could he have continued? I would think so.
It's shocking that a champion doesn't know the rules inside out.
It is.
It's like like an NFL football player and like not know what a touchdown is. I'm like, wait a second, this is what you do for a living, man. You got to know these rules inside out. That to me is shocking. The other, as far as the guy faking it, which from all accounts it sounds like he did. I kind of understand it. Like in his shoes, it's easy for the outside to go, you got to do the right thing. But like the difference to him is not only a belt, it's also millions of dollars and a potential for a rematch that's going to make him even more millions of dollars. So, I mean, I don't like it, but I understand the dynamic of being in his shoes and making the call where it's going to grant you a title plus millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And it's not like his wrong was just acting more hurt than he actually was.
Yeah, but it's...
Maybe he watches a lot of soccer.
If it was soccer, he would have been carried in the stretcher. He'd have been like, Yeah. But I mean, career-wise, I could see that angle for sure. Obviously, like he's going to get the rematch. He gets the extra sponsor money because he's a champion.
All of it. Yeah.
But apparently he was talking smack, calling Yan a paper champion, which is very ironic. He's literally a paper champion. You know what I mean? Well, he won by technicality.
Here's the thing, this just helps them because now they're going to use that quote repeatedly to build up even more hype. Like in the long run, he benefits from this tremendously. Even if no one gives him any credibility, or getting credit for being a champion. Even if anyone who knows anything about the sport looks at that and goes like, I don't know about that title, which has got to hurt him a little bit, but it just opens so many other doors for him now. Like he's on the map, like in a sense, like he's, not in the sense where he's already a top contender. It's not what I'm suggesting, but he goes in the hall of UFC champions now. Like you can't take that away from him. So I can understand from his perspective, even though as a fan, I don't like it.
Yeah, especially when you contrast it to what happened with John Jones and Anthony Smith. Very similar type of situation. I think it might have been a groin strike or whatnot that John Jones delivered. And technically, Anthony Smith could have won by DQ and got the title and a victory over John Jones.
Yeah.
But he chose to continue fighting. You know, and I remember people commented, "Oh, that's honorable," and he always said like he would never stop no matter what. Like he's a real fighter. Mm. So you have that guy, and then you compare it to this situation, like he loses a lot of street cred. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
no, it does. But it doesn't matter. Like when Conor McGregor throws a trolley at a bus, you think that hurts him? When he punches an old man at the bar, you think that hurts him?
Oh, it definitely does.
It helps him. He steals a cell phone.
Yeah.
What happens? He gains like 1 million followers. Like it actually helps. It's crazy, but it helps him. Right? So these guys understand this. So it doesn't matter what you do as long as people remember you and notice you. Like that's all that matters, right? So you can be as obnoxious as you could possibly think, as you could behave, and you're going to get away with it. But I mean, Dana likes this. I mean, it doesn't make his champion look great, but he knows he can build up a fight that between me and Neil was not the most exciting title fight in the history of the UFC.
Right.
Right? Like they're not like top, like known fan favorites, right? But now, shit, I want to watch that rematch. I didn't see the first one, but I want to watch the rematch. And it's the nature of show business, man. Like it doesn't always go, the warrior. We like to think of the warrior who's going to go out there and do everything, and be virtuous. It's show business. This is about money. Like it is money that drives everything in that industry. So I can understand why he did it. But, I think the overall credibility of the sport, because you don't want it to, like, UFC is the opposite of soccer in the sense where you're supposed to be tough and not be faking shit.
Yeah.
Like, it does hurt the sport a little bit because now people go at that and go, oh, like, you guys do that too? I thought you guys were the tough guys.
Yeah, and especially, like, apparently he left the belt in the ring, like, oh, he didn't deserve it. But then later on, they put a tabloid picture, and he's with the... I'd be happy as shit. In his shoes, I'd be happy as shit. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'd be like, okay, I'm a champ. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't throw the illegal knee. No, he didn't.
I'm saying. Someone else did. He just took advantage of the situation.
In my opinion, in these type of positions...
No contest.
You shouldn't put... Well, no contest might be one thing. The other thing, it's always hard to put that type of decision on the fighter. Like it's kind of like you're making the fighter. Like if I'm the coach, I'm watching that. I want to get the win for my fighter because my goal is to keep my fighter safe and get the victory, right? So I would say no, you can't continue. But when you put that decision on the fighter, you have the part of your ego, which is like, oh, I can still fight, but at the same time, it's like, well, I'm gonna make a lot more money if I do. If I don't. Yeah. And you're putting him in a position where he shouldn't be. That like he shouldn't be making those executive calls. He's literally just raw talent. He just works. The coach should be the one that would decide that for him. And then that kind of shields a fighter from looking weak or maybe making a foolish decision and saying, oh, I can't fight when you really shouldn't fight. Because you have guys that would probably like someone like Anthony Smith might continue to fight when he probably shouldn't. He might be really messed up, but he's just too proud. That's kind of why why the corner throws a towel.
Because he makes the call because some fighters just won't. I see what you're saying. The funny thing about this whole game is like I might have made this analogy here or somewhere else recently before, but like I've never been crazy about like IBJJF advantages. Like, I don't think there's an easy solution. I understand why they do it. I don't hate on them either. Like, I understand why they do it. There's a logic behind it, right? But it's always like disappointing to see someone just like strategically winning on advantage and not really trying to do anything beyond that. That's never fun to watch, right? No one likes that aspect. It's just a difficult problem to solve because otherwise it turns into decisions all the time. You get all these decisions, right? I never liked advantages overall. However, did I use them to win?
Yeah.
100 times. If it came down, I can't beat this guy, I can't tap this guy, but I really want to move on to the next round because I want a gold medal, not a bronze medal, I would use advantages to win. So this is one of those things where it sounds like hypocrisy, but it's when you're a competitor, your objective is to win. Like you hate the game, not the player. Like the player is doing what he has been trained to do, which is to win. Like if a soccer team is strategical, or a football team for that matter is strategical, and like not opening up the game and locking it down because they're ahead on points, that's strategy. Now the fans don't want to see it. As a fan, I don't like to see it, but I understand why they're doing it. Like so, I only partially condemn it. Like I understand that these guys, even though, I have my issues with show business as a whole, but it is the nature of the game. You can dislike it, but those are the rules of the game.
Yeah.
And this guy's trying to make it. He wants to be a Conor McGregor. He just took a step forward in that direction. So from that perspective, it was a huge win.
Yeah. And again, the mistake was obviously Jan's. Like, I don't know what was going through his head when he decided to throw that knee.
Yeah.
Which is then similar because in the next UFC, you had Eric Anders, who also almost a very similar situation. Round 2, dominant fight. Looks like he's on his way to TKO his opponent. The guy's against the cage on a knee, and then he's there punching, and then just fires a knee to the head. In his case, it was ruled a no contest. I guess because it was a second round, so I forget how the rules cut off. When a foul ends a fight. But it seemed like why? Why are these fighters not understanding? Especially after such an example was made. Yeah. In the event previous, you would think, hey, don't knee the guy in the ground,
Like the commission, they have these. I really wish, and I don't mean to shit on commissioners here, but I know they're trying their best, but most of them don't have any fight experience.
Yeah.
And it's kind of shocking when you have attorney. A lot of times they move in attorneys into these positions. They seem that attorneys seem just they know everything about everything. No, they don't. They don't know, but they put these guys in these positions of power, and then they're making decisions on what's dangerous and what's not. Right? I remember one of my fights in Texas, I had a bad ankle, so I taped my ankle. Just white tape. And they're like, nope. And I'm like, just out of curiosity, why not? It's just going to keep me safer in there. I'm less likely to roll my ankle and fall, right? And the commissioner's argument was the tape can cut your opponent's eye.
Yeah.
And I'm going, what? I'm about to walk in there into a sport where I can elbow him in the eye. I can knee him in the eye. But the tape is dangerous. It's just some of the art, and a lot. I remember when there's amateur fights here. I don't think those still might be the rules here in Vegas for amateur fights. No leg locks at all. Do you know that? You can't foot lock people. You can't knee bar people.
I think in Florida's is similar. You can't do heel hooks.
Where does this logic come from? You can knee him in the head, but God forbid you go for a straight foot lock. It's there's the hierarchy of risk and danger is something that they're completely unfamiliar with. And jiu-jitsu made that mistake too. Judo's made that mistake when they banned all these submissions. I've argued this a million times, and I'll stand by it. I don't know the numbers, but I'd be willing to put money on the fact that most injuries come from transitions and takedowns, not submissions. Yeah. And I think that coincides with most experiences that grapplers have on the mats. Most of the injuries you're going to see don't come from you getting armbarred. Think about your last 5 injuries. Was it you getting armbarred, getting kimura'd, getting foot locked? Where do they come from? It's the passing, it's the sweeping, it's the scramble. It's the takedown. It's you landed in a funny way. So I'm not suggesting we ban those things, but I don't think submissions themselves are that dangerous in terms of risk for practitioners. I can't remember the last time I got injured from a submission. It's been years really. I can't even remember any occasion. Maybe one time I didn't believe in heel hooks when I first started training. I thought it was a matter of flexibility. I still pay. It still hurts. But other than that, I can't really recall being injured by a submission.
Oh, if you're talking to someone who's been famously injured by...
Okay, you're going like Ruzimar, man. That's a different... Okay, Ruzimar is okay, he is... Every rule has its exceptions. That guy is something else, man.
But I don't see that so much as the rules.
It's him.
It's him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's nothing to do with the rules. It's not... It's the guy is just...
And I agree with you, because besides that, every other injury I've had was takedowns, wrestling...
Takedowns are the worst.
Yeah.
Takedowns are the worst, man. I actually believe this. I think that time and experience has taught wrestlers and judokas that most of their training has to be live drilling over combat friction. Because I think if you wrestled 100% every day, you had a very short career. And I think wrestlers and judokas over time, coaches have understood that the best way to practice is to emphasize controlled live drilling and minimize live action. Like in BJJ, it's the opposite. There's very little live drilling. There's a lot of action because there's less impact. It's more controlled.
Yeah, you're starting on the ground.
You're on the ground.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's a lot easier. It's like striking.
Yeah.
If you did full sparring every day, you end up,
100%.
with a TBI or whatnot at a certain
100%.
point. Yeah.
Like BJJ is unique in that way, or ground Nuwaza, ground fighting for that matter, because the impact is not there, and everyone's terrified of the submissions, But again, even heel hooks. But I teach white belts at the gym. I teach them heel hooks.
Yeah, we do too.
I always have. Everyone thinks I'm crazy. I'm like, why? You teach them how to tap. I have been doing this for years, Dave. I can't recall the last time anyone's been injured from a heel hook in the gym. I mean, I'm sure it has happened. I can't recall, but it's not something that happens, not even once a year.
Right.
It's
very easy. If, like you said, you introduce it early, and you tell them, hey, look, this is a heel hook, very dangerous position.
Yes.
When you apply it, you go very slow.
Yeah.
If you're the guy getting caught with it, you tap very fast, And if you're cranking it and the guy's not respecting it, just let go of it. They're just training.
Yeah.
So all that pre-framing makes it very hard for people to screw up.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So, but if you let them find it on their own, it's like kids with drugs. You never give that talk, and
yeah, exactly.
they're gonna do their own exploration, and they're gonna get messed up. You set up all the
100%.
rules, let them know the expectations. They're much better informed to make a smart decision.
A big part of it too, Dave, is having good culture in the gym. So if you have good culture in the gym, like for example, you walk in there and you feel like you're in an environment, no one wants to hurt you because everyone likes you. It's hard to explain, but that's probably the greatest asset any gym has is the culture.
Yeah.
It's not how good your instructor is or how many medals he has on the wall, but you walk into a place and you feel that you belong there. You're at home. I like these people. I know that if I pass out here, like no one's gonna keep. They're all gonna stop. Everyone's gonna stop to try to take care of me. Like I know that if I get injured, there are 5 people in this room that will volunteer to drive me to a hospital.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like it's that kind of level of trust that it's got to be, because I've been to gyms where it's very hostile.
Oh yeah.
Not only for me as a visitor, but even amongst themselves, there's not, especially MMA gyms, they don't have that same camaraderie. And I've experienced this up close. Like, it's very individualistic, cliquey. You have these people going at it. Like, I'm not going to mention names here, but I've seen guys spar. Like, that could have been like a UFC title fight.
Yeah.
It could have been, and they're going at it, like trying to knock each other out and sparring. And I'm going, dude, like you guys got, you're going to get hurt in there. It's just not healthy.
I've seen guys sparring and getting ready for UFC, like 2 weeks out.
Yeah.
And they're sparring, guy drops to his knees, he soccer kicks the guy in the head, knocks him out.
Yeah.
The guy that was going to fight in the UFC.
Yeah.
I'm looking, I'm like, first of all, what the hell? Second, he's like, I just got caught up in the moment. I'm like, what moment? A street fight?
Yeah.
You can't do this anywhere.
Man.
What the hell, man? But like that just goes to show you, it's like kind of like, a dog eat dog training environment. Like everybody's out for themselves and they're trying to prove stuff. It's like, like that's the one thing I always tell people when they ask me, where should I train in Vegas? I go to Rob's, man, because it's like it's a family environment. I don't feel anybody's out to try to kill me.
Yeah.
And like you said, like you can tell, like people are all close together. Nobody wants to hurt that's a good place to learn. Like you said, you can do a trust fall and someone's gonna pick you up.
Yes. Yeah. And if you're in an environment and it's hard to create that environment because you have to lose the bat. You have to put the this is what I tell gym owners, because my affiliates, they call me sometimes. They're having problems with their students, right?
Right.
Or when I go teach a seminar, the gym owner, hey Rob, you've been doing this all longer than me. What'd you do in this situation? And I've made every mistake you could possibly make. So I don't mind giving my 2 cents on what I would do, because I've lived that situation before. And it normally comes down to be willing to cut out rotten branches.
Yeah.
There's some people that don't belong. They're going to try to change the culture. MMA fighters are the worst, because they come in with a different mindset. They don't come in as like, I'm a member of a team. They walk in, I'm a UFC superstar. They're a very different approach, and they walk in, they try to change the culture.
Yeah.
They want to walk around with their shirts off, barefoot, spit in the garbage. If they bleed, they have tape everywhere. Their gear's all over the place. They don't wash their shit. Dude, I don't like that. Yeah. I put the hammer down. Just the other day, I'm not going to mention the UFC fighter. Like, it has gear all over the gym. Like, hey, man, can you put that away in the cubbies? And he just looked at me like, it's the first time he was told that.
Yeah.
I think he hasn't heard that since he was in high school. Like, hey, man, can you please put your gear in the cubbies? And he looked at me. But I think it sends a message. Like, you're not the boss here, bro. I know you're a big time champion. I know you're a badass. But in here, different. If you're willing to do that to your best students, because they're always the ones that are going to challenge the culture in the gym. They're not the white belts.
Yeah.
It's your purple belt. It's your brown belt. They're the ones that are going to challenge the culture. They're going to try to change it to their own benefit. And as long as you're willing to confront that and like hold the line, two things happen. That asshole guy, the guy's trying to hurt people, that brings bad culture, that talks shit, that is disrespectful, he's either going to change and jiu-jitsu is going to save him, or he's going to leave. Yeah. You know, it's and I think that's exactly what has to happen. You just got to be willing to weed out. And I used to be like, oh, I'm going to lose, you know, X amount of dollars per month if I do that. It's like, you know what? The peace of mind. Yes.
The net over a long time, you gain.
I gain, yeah. And not only that, there's like getting rid of like stress is something like I value peace of mind way more than money.
For sure. No,
you know, if I'm happy and like if I'm happy inside, I'm not stressed out. Like life is just so much better.
But it's even financially, that's short-term gain, right? Because like, oh, I'm going to make extra money off this one guy. But that guy is going to end up poisoning a lot of other people. Because once it's like kids, you know, kids always test boundaries, right? And they're going to see like how far they can get away with things. And if you don't put your foot down, like, oh, okay, I can go all the way here. That means I can try to go here now. And they'll keep going and going. And if you never discipline your kids, they're going to run all over you. You know what I mean? But once you start putting your foot down, they're like, oh, okay, this is a line. It's a hard line. I can't cross that line. And everybody else, if they're watching you, have other kids, they're like, oh, I can't cross that line. I saw the beating that he got, you know? You got to do the same thing with your culture, you know, because we're animals. We all are trying to challenge. You know, it happens to lions. You know, young lion comes into a new pride. There's a fight. Right? Who's gonna run this show? You know,
pecking order, yeah.
And you know, unfortunately, as gym owner, you're the headline.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be young males coming in trying to see what they can get away with
every day.
Yeah, and you got to check them. You know, and it's kind of like, man, I didn't sign up for this. Well, you kind of did. You just didn't know.
You didn't know it. You were unaware.
It's in the fine print.
I was just going to say, it's in between the lines. You didn't see it.
Yeah, you're going to have people challenge matching you and all sorts of goofy stuff that you're going to put your foot down. But you make once you get used to it, it becomes a lot easier, you know. But like especially when you're a new gym owner and you come into like, oh, I want to help people and, you know, I want to be cool with everybody. But then like that attitude to somebody who's like, you know, like a dick or whatnot, they're going to see that as weakness. They're like, oh, that means I can.
If they're immature people. I find that the people I have the easiest time working with, like if I want to hire them or do kind of business with them or give me any kind of responsibility in the gym, have always been people that have a family and a career, jobs. They've been kicked in the teeth in life.
Yeah.
You know, you've had a shitty job, so you can appreciate a good job, right? You can tell the difference. It's like anything. You see the bad and then you really appreciate the good, right? But you give opportunity to someone who's never had a real job and they go straight from their parents' house into your house sometimes, or like, you know, just teaching jiu-jitsu and living the jiu-jitsu lifestyle, whatever that means, you know, like they come with a lot of expectations. They think they made it. Like I get some of these Brazilian kids that I brought over in the past and they had zero work ethic. Like some of them were good, like, but the majority were like absolutely horrible. And they have this mentality that they're in the US. I made it in life. No. You got to work just the same.
Yeah.
The difference is you're going to be more rewarded here than you would have in Brazil. That's the only difference.
Exactly.
You got to work just the same. But like the mindset is kind of like, I made it. So immediately they're kind of like, and then when they don't get everything they were expecting easily, they're kind of like, you know, frustrated. And it's a very common thing amongst fighters because very few of them want to have like a job and train, which is what everyone did. That's what you did. That's what I did. Like I never had like, I'm just going to train full time and do nothing. I'm like, no, I always had a job.
Yeah.
I always worked. I was a teaching class. I was doing something else. I've always had work on top of going to college, on top of training. Like, you know, when I went to ADCC, I was going to college. I was working. I was running a gym and I was training. Like, and I did all, dude, my days were like 12, 15 hours like long. Like I was normal.
Yeah.
You know, but you get some of these, I hate being the old man here, but like there's no way around it.
Yeah.
They're just very entitled. They think it's easy. Like, I had people complaining about driving 30 minutes to practice. It's too far. Like they're just like so upset. You got a car, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you got a car. Like you're living in like amazing infrastructure of Las Vegas. You got a vehicle. Gas is dirt cheap. Yeah. You're 30 minutes away each way. Come on, man.
Yeah.
But people complain.
When I opened my gym, I mean, same situation as you. I was going to college full time. I would teach at the gym and I would be trying to train at the same time. And at a certain point, I was working at the power plant or whatever. So like I was juggling all these things. And I lived in Fort Lauderdale when my gym was in Miami, which was like an hour away. You know, and then that's with no traffic. You know, and that's my own gym.
Yeah.
The white. But me and my brother were doing like probably like 3-4 hours of driving a day, just back and forth, So yeah, it's funny. Like that's why when I moved here and you were telling me people complain like, oh God, they
Didn't
have
no
it too
idea.
easy.
No, I know. I had one kid, like he was staying with me and he wouldn't walk to the gym. You see my house in the gym. It's a 15-minute walk.
Yeah.
Not a drive. It's a 15-minute walk. You cross a beautiful park. There's no like, it's not dangerous. It's not like, it can be hot in the summer, cold in the winter. You know how many times I've done that walk? Sometimes I want to walk to the gym. I take my shirt off, I get a tan, I just walk to the gym, put my headphones on, listen to music. It's beautiful.
It's got to be a little bit less than a mile, I would think, right?
Yeah, it's a 15-minute walk if you're walking at a normal pace. I had this one kid, like early 20s, just like, oh, no, I'm not going to do it. Like you have to drive him to the gym, otherwise he wouldn't show up. I'm not making this up, man. Like I'm dead serious.
I know, it's crazy. You would think as a young fighter, like that's your warm-up. You run to the gym.
100%. Yeah. I'd be like, what? Like, it's dude, if I had to walk 2 hours to get to practice, I'd do it, man. Like you couldn't, I was not going to get stopped by that.
Yeah.
Now you got to drive him. I need a ride.
It reminds me of my dad used to tell a joke. He's from Venezuela. And he said like, when people are in Venezuela, they hear about America as like the land of milk and honey. And there's just there's literally money on the street.
Yeah.
So this guy from Venezuela lands in Miami, and he gets out of the airport and he sees $100 bill on the floor, and he's like, my back hurts. I'll start picking up the money tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like that. What you're talking about.
Yeah. It's not too far off. It's a mindset. But here's the thing, though. I think that when eventually you learn. I think that's a youth thing more than anything. You in jiu-jitsu, what it does, and it prolongs your teens. And I think it did that to me in some ways too. Like while I was fighting, I was probably in my early 20s, 25, and I was far less responsible and far more entitled. That even though I was doing all these things, I think that you once you get kicked in the teeth in life, is like you realize how hard it can be. Like you actually have a lot of bills to pay and you got responsibilities. That's when you go, oh, okay, I had it easy. I didn't realize it. Yeah. It's like, because otherwise you go from your parents' house straight into, the jiu-jitsu world. And because if you're good, you can get away with it. I always say like the two professions, you can be irresponsible and successful at the same time. You can be musician and martial artist. You can be incredibly irresponsible and incredibly successful at the same time with no contradiction. There are not many other professions, or not just fighters, but like professional athletes in general. Yeah. If you're very good at basketball, it doesn't matter how immature you are. You're going to get by just fine until eventually you retire, and then you got like, oh shit, I got to manage all this money I made, and you have no experience doing it. And hence, professional athletes all being broke 2 years after retirement, right? Even when they make millions.
It's just like winning the lottery for a lot of people.
Zero idea how to manage it.
And what you're talking about, like having to mature through these hard lessons. Like my brother was telling me something similar that happened to our gym, where we had a young, I think of the teen, good kid, very good talent, but he just didn't want to listen to the rules, and he was a little reckless with the way he was sparring, and he was warned several times, didn't seem to care, and then we ultimately had to kick him out of the gym, and then he was crying, and he was all apologetic or whatnot, and the takeaway I got was, look, it's unfortunate, but if you would have kept him on, he would have had learned the lesson.
Yeah.
So like, this is kind of like he had to learn this lesson the hard way. And hopefully, he does. So wherever gym he goes to next, he comes with his head right.
Yeah.
But like in that situation, like the relationship was too soured to come back from. You know what I mean? Like
they need to.
He needed to learn.
He can't recover from it.
Yeah.
But and this is where like I've changed a lot over the years, because you grow up your whole life and you're told, right? I'm not very religious, but I grew up in a religious environment. So either that or it's my nature, whatever the case, or the people around me, what my parents taught me. But I've always believed that compassion was always the right thing to do. Always being compassionate with people. I don't believe that anymore. I think sometimes the right thing to do is to be selfish and tell people to fuck off. Like sometimes it depends. Like there's time. I'm not suggesting you should never be compassionate. Like I think you go case by case. There's a balance there, because when you help too much, you're actually not helping. That's why I tell my students in class, like for example, if you're a white belt, I'm a blue belt, and I take it easy on you and I don't make you tap because I know it's going to hurt your feelings. Am I helping you? You're not. You know what? You know how I help you? I beat the crap out of you. That's how you help. You make them tap as many times as you can. And that we it just, and then, okay, you're going to quit then. I'm like, it's not for you then. It's not for you. You don't have the mettle that it takes to be in here. And if you don't, that's fine. You got to go find something else. Then don't waste your time doing something you're not meant to be doing. And if you do have the mettle, if you are qualified for this is what you're meant to be doing. You're going to be appreciative of the fact you get your ass kicked. You need to come back stronger the next day. It's that simple. So sometimes like firing someone is the right thing to do. It actually helps them because it sets them on a whole new course of action where they're going to find their real passion. They're going to find what they're meant to be doing. They're going to find what they're good at. And if they're passionate about it, they're not going to get fired because they're going to do a good job. So I'm less empathetic towards these things. And I used to be like very tolerant. Yeah. It's changed a lot over the years because I find it really is a balance. You're not helping when you think you're helping.
No, and I think that's exactly the point. Like, even though it might not be seen as help in short term or not compassionate, it actually is.
It actually is.
That's what I was telling my brother. Like, you did the best thing you could for this kid, because if you would have kept him around and tolerated the behavior,
he would have never learned.
He would have got probably worse.
Yeah.
Because he can get away with it. And like, he needed to put him in his place. And although it sucks short term, long term, hopefully he gains and learns from it. Otherwise, like you said, he just wasn't put out for it. And it's it's kind of like people who linger in a relationship too long that's already been dead, but like they're just afraid of the pain of the break. But you need the break, if everything's very tumultuous, it's just somebody has to be brave enough to go, okay, let's go.
We're living in a society where like we are constantly trying to avoid pain and suffering, but we forget that that's how you become strong. Yeah. Like Nietzsche would always say, he believed in purposeful suffering. Like he didn't believe in causing pain for no purpose. Yeah. But if I cause you pain and that makes you better, I'm helping you. Yeah. And that it has a purpose. Like, so when a dad like makes his 18-year-old son kind of get a job and pay his own bills and doesn't buy him a car, he's actually doing him a huge favor. Like I know very wealthy people and they don't give their kids shit. I'm like, that's a good dad right there. And then you see the wealthy parent that gives their kids way too much. I'm like, you're not helping. You're not helping. You're preventing them from learning a lesson. It's what I call the culture of the participation. Yeah, the participation medal culture. Yeah. Right? You reward people for being there. You're my son. Here you go. Right? Oh, you showed up to compete. Good job. And you just destroy the competitive culture, which is primal. It's necessary. You need competition. It's good. It breeds excellence. I just don't. When I see people, but like little Johnny's crying, I'm like, let him cry, man. So what? Yeah, did I cry too when I was a kid? So what? I know no one's ever died from being upset because they lost a tournament. You lose your soccer game, you got to give them a medal for that. How are you actually preventing them from getting better? It's the opposite of helping.
Yeah, I feel like if you're someone, like let's say you're talking about a very wealthy person that was a self-made, millionaire, whatever, the path that you went on was probably difficult, but it had to be in order for you to get where you are. So if you don't give your child a similar path, they're not gonna get similar results. Yeah. They're gonna have to live off whatever you have, and then fuck off. Like you're not doing them a favor. You gotta. That's why, like I think, what was it? Oh, Trump in his book, he talks about little stories about his sons and whatnot, and he had them negotiating chores and the rates they would get for chores. It was kind of funny because I guess it was like they were setting a price for cutting the lawn. I think it was like $20 or something like that. And then one of the brothers found out that the other brother was getting paid $40. Right? And he's like, oh, Dad, what the hell? He's like, he negotiated. You just took what I gave you. Yeah. And he's like, son of a bitch.
Great lesson.
His lesson.
Great lesson.
Yeah, you have to negotiate everything. Yeah. But like he's a businessman.
But that's the path that he was taking. And in the long run, you actually, they will appreciate it because he lost $20, but he learned a life lesson. Oh yeah. Like I was talking to someone the other day, and like she was telling me that like when her kids left the toys out, the rule was you got to throw one of them away. So every time brutal. I was like, hey man, that would work because I guarantee you threw one of my daughter's LOL dolls away. One, they would never leave their shit on the ground because like it's a collection, man. Like they collect those little things. They're expensive too. But yeah, man, they I actually think it's a good lesson. Like my uncle in Brazil, he's a really hardcore guy. He's one of those like. It reminds me of Clint Eastwood in that movie, Gran Torino. Just like that's, he's that guy, right? So he bought my two cousins an Atari when they were like 8 and 9 years old, whatever it was, like 80s, right? Atari was like, that was legit, right? And day one, there's only one remote control.
Oh, Jesus.
So day one, of course, they're fighting over it's my turn, right? Dude, he picked that thing up and threw it out the window. It was brand new. And no kid had an Atari. It was one of those. He threw it out the window.
Imagine, especially in Brazil. That must have been hard
Oh,
to
yeah.
get.
Oh, yeah. That was a big deal. He threw it out the window. Done. My cousins were like, dude, like, but it was like one of those scars that you never really fully heal from. Because you're going to hate your dad for doing that. But I think it teaches. Sometimes, like, you need that hard lesson to learn, you know, and and then at the end you appreciate those things. I think you look back and you go, you know what, I missed out on hours of playing with an Atari, but I got something more valuable from it. So I don't think there's anything wrong with a little, you know, struggle, pain, and suffering. I think that's part of the journey. They typically come in equal measure too. That's my other thing. I think that, you know, you're going to get something really good, and there's like another side that's going to be really hard. You're going to pay a really high cost for that, right? And just the way. That's what makes it valuable too. Imagine if people just handed you a black belt. What would be the merit? You know, like everyone's a world champion. There you go. Everyone's a world champion. Like if everyone's a world champion, what's the point of being a world champion? You know, it kind of it blows the whole purpose of it being meaningful, right? I think it goes for everything.
Yeah, I agree with you. And circling back, I want to get to that back to the knees, because you're talking about one thing which was funny, which is maybe it was before the podcast. You were saying how they always pick lawyers to
the commission,
to be on the commission.
Yeah.
So to me, the rule of the down knee, because we got two guys who get DQ'd in 1 week, you know, it's foolish in my opinion, right? If you think about a knee, well, what's the point of putting the rule is because it's supposed to be more dangerous.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's not more dangerous, yeah.
The head is approximately around the same height, if not lower, than if you had him in a clinch.
Yeah.
And I would argue you have less leverage.
Yeah.
When you're sprawled over the guy trying to throw a knee.
100%.
Because your hips are way back, your weight's not in power, versus standing where you could brace against the guy and throw it in. So like, you're not gonna throw a knee with more force than you are from standing.
I agree.
So why do we have that rule in the first place?
So this is where IBJJF and the UFC and the commission and every other organization on the planet got to be more scientific. It's not hard. Yeah. You get a professional Muay Thai fighter with a good knee, and you measure the power standing, and you measure the same thing on the ground. You tell me which one's stronger. I'll guarantee you that his knee's going to be stronger standing because there's way more leverage. Yeah. There's way more mechanics involved. On the ground, even like some of the stuff that's illegal on the ground, like I can understand 12-6 on the back of the neck being dangerous, but in some positions, it's like it's not going to hurt him, depending on where you hit him. But they always make it illegal, right? It's just, if I hit you in the arm, that doesn't hurt you, but they make it illegal.
Like your chest,
exactly.
Here, it's like,
but they have all these things that they haven't thought through. Like I honestly think they make rules based off of prejudice, off of what they think is happening. But because they lack the know-how, either because they've done no research in the sense of let's collect some data here and find out what's happening, or I actually been in the gym my whole life, I know what's happening. Right? Between those two things, between people that can actually put together statistics and people who have been in the gym their whole lives, I think you come up with an intelligent decision.
Yeah,
intelligent
and
rules.
They have the tools to measure that.
They have it.
Yeah, so like the other one I would talk about is the down kicks. I don't think the one kick that people say, it's a soccer kick when the guy's down. I'm like, I would like to measure that. Let's get a soccer kick, measure it, the force generated versus a roundhouse
kick. I agree.
Or a front kick to the head. The way you both have knocked out plenty of people. I bet you it's comparable. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think the other thing is that people right now, like for example, Aljamain Sterling dropped to his knees because he knew he would be safer. Because he knew if he was standing, he was going to take more punishment because there's more leverage on the strikes. We know that, right? So he went to his knees because it's easier to manage the damage from there, right? But if you knew that a guy could knee you or soccer kick you, are you going to stay in your force? Probably
no
not.
way.
You're going to go to your guard, which is what we used to do, right? In a real street fight situation, I'm not going to sit on turtle and let you soccer kick me. Right? Yeah. It's very easy to avoid.
Yeah.
I just roll over.
Yeah.
But people don't want to do that.
Unless you're out already. In that case, the referee should have stopped it already anyway.
Yeah, you're already done. You know what I mean? But like, if you're biding your time, like Aljamain was clearly biding his time.
Yeah.
I think he got hit with an uppercut and whatnot. He dropped to his fours and he had his hands down and he was kind of like covering. So it's, again, in the framework of the rules, smart, right? But like, we're moving away from, to me, what the spirit of a fight is, right?
Yes.
Like, this is supposed to be more...
And it's not making it safer.
It's not making it safer.
I know.
It's not really making it any safer. You're just dragging on the beating, if anything, Like, in a real street fight situation, if you got hurt, the smart thing to do would be pull guard.
Yeah.
Because you're keeping your head as far as you can, and now at least you have your most powerful limbs, your legs, to help try to manage distance. At bay,
yes. The other one, too, is, it makes no sense, and I have never heard a good argument against it, is that people can't kick from the guard if we're on their knees.
Yeah, that also makes no sense.
It's less power. It's way less power than the standing kick.
Yeah.
It's way less dangerous. Like, why would the really dangerous kick, because the power's at the end of the kick.
Yeah.
You load up your hips, you load it up, and then you fire. And at the very end of that lift, that's where it's going to hurt the most, right? You don't even generate nearly that much power from the ground. I'd kick you from the ground. I'd be able to land a kick. It would hurt, but it wouldn't. I mean, yeah, you could possibly knock him out, but it's not.
It's the only one I can think of, Henzo with Oleg Daktarov.
Yeah.
And that was just a perfect shot.
Yes.
Under the chin.
Yeah.
But
here's the thing. You could make an argument. This could be an argument. I think there would be not a lot of passing because people on top may not want to engage too much. So when they hit the ground, people might create that longer range right away, and there'd be less me trying to pass because the guy kicking from the bottom would force the guy either to get really close or really far.
Well, right? that just brings a point because that kick was legal because he was standing.
Yeah.
But if he was on his knees, it isn't legal. But wait, is he generating any more force?
No, it's less.
No, it's less.
It's less power.
Less.
That's what it makes no sense.
Yeah.
But the only thing you can say is that there would be less grappling because of that. Because the top guy, he's either, if he's skilled, he's going to move forward to shorten the distance. If he's unskilled, which is unfortunately the majority of people in the UFC don't know how to pass, they're going to back out. And then when they back out, that's going to end the ground fight, right? So you could make, maybe it's going to be less interesting because there's less grappling. I guess you could make that argument.
But Dana White would probably like that.
Right? He probably would. But as far as risk goes, I can't see how that kick is more powerful than the one he is standing or when they're kickboxing.
Yeah.
Because they're not even close.
No. That's one of the weaker kicks, especially when the guy's on the ground. So, like, those rules to me, I think they should be all gone. I think down kicks, down knees, up kicks, all should be good. They're not more force in any of them than the equivalence of standing.
One that I'm sorry, go ahead.
But on the other side of I think the rules for example, eye gouging need to be reworked as far as the penalties and whatnot. We had Leon Edwards who eye gouged Belal Muhammad multiple times until unfortunately he, like I told you, it was like a fish hook in the eye. Like he literally eye gouged him, and then the finger got in there, the bottom lid, and ripped. That ended the fight. And there was a no contest. But people are like, oh, the gloves had to be reshaped and whatnot. And I'm like, in my mind, no, it's the fighter that's doing this.
Yeah.
Because he was warned in between rounds, hey, keep your fingers down, because he's fighting like this, so, and he's measuring a lot. And who's another fighter that does that? John Jones.
Yeah.
And I remember in my top of my head, like he's probably had at least a dozen, right? And then when I Googled, he goes, top 10 eye gouges from John Jones. I'm like, oh, this is just a top 10?
He's got a category just for himself. He's in his own league.
I'm like, so you're saying, like, look, I get accidents happen, right? And sometimes you're clinching, and
if it happens a lot, it's not an accident.
And you headbutt, right? Or you're throwing an inside kick, you graze the guy's nuts. Like, it happens. But like, if you have a top 10 highlight reel of your eye gouges, you're fighting like an asshole, right?
Yeah.
It's
a method. It's no longer an accident.
And they have all the highlight videos, and you see he's doing the same thing every time. And he's using it like he's pushing off the guy's head. Like, no, you're going to eye gouge him. Of course you are.
It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time. And really, there's no tactical advantage to doing this except to eye gouge him.
Yes.
Because really, you don't want to jam your finger to someone's head like this.
Forehead, no.
Yeah, you're more likely.
You're targeting that 100%.
Yeah.
And what drives me crazy about like these rules too, some of it is just so retarded, man. It's like when the guy, like same thing, eye gouging or holding defense.
Yeah.
They know it's illegal.
Yeah.
Like you don't get a warning. Like what do you mean a warning? You didn't know it was illegal? Like you're a professional. You're supposed to know what the rules are. You hold on to the fence. The message you send out, you're telling them that you can hold on to the fence once and get away with it.
Exactly.
And you don't think they know this? You think they're stupid? Like I swear, like the commission sometimes like this, the rules they make no sense. You take a point right away in the story, and you'll see it's going to stop. The eye gouging thing, they get away with it because they get warned the first time.
Yeah, and it's not an accident because, like I said, you can tell. Sometimes there are accidents, right? But when you have somebody like him, when you see the stance like this,
Yeah.
no, I know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. Maybe not this fight, but it's going to happen, you know, just by the way you're putting your hands. Like, and your open hands, maybe here, like when I'm catching or
It's
parrying.
perfectly fine, but on like impact.
When, Yeah, when I'm reaching like this, why am I reaching with my hands open? No, I might as well just jab you. You know what I mean? So I think that's BS. And then the cage grabbing thing, people are like, oh, it just happened accidentally. Dude, Rob, I've trained with cages my whole life. I've never grabbed
Never
a cage.
hold the exact same thing. I never held on to the fence.
What reflex? Like, no, man, I just push.
Yeah,
you know?
I've never held. You're right. Now that I think about it in practice, I can't recall a single situation where someone tried to take me down and I holding on to that fence.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't. No, 100%. It's intentional, and they know they can get away with it. One of many holes. Again, me and Dave. If you watch the podcast, me and Dave have solved every problem in the world multiple times over.
There's like great minds think alike. Right?
You know, what can we say? All right, guys. I think that's it. We reached our hour. I gotta go. I gotta go give this melon a haircut.
You and me both, actually.
Yeah, but yeah, that's it, man. I had fun. Let's do this again, Dave. I'll be around. I'll be out of town this weekend, but I'll be back next week. Let's do it again.
Awesome. Sounds good.
All right,
guys.
Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next time. Ciao.